Hi everyone, it's Evangeline here at etrailer, and today we'll be taking a look at the Hollywood Rack's Destination 4-bike platform rack right here on our 2022 Toyota Tundra. If you're looking for an affordable way to carry around a lot of bikes, but you want the stability of a platform rack, that's where this bike rack comes in handy. So this is a Destination 4 rack. It's a more affordable option with a lot of good features to make sure that your bikes are nice and secure as you drive around. Now, we're going to talk about those features and those specs, but we are going to focus on our Toyota Tundra today. That way we can see what is the better fit for you, your different types of bikes, and your truck. This does have a 35-pound weight capacity, so for your heavier bikes like your electric bikes, this probably won't be the best fit for you, but for most of your mountain bikes and road bikes, 35 pounds is perfectly enough. Look at the way our bike is mounted to this rack. We have 1, 2, and 3 mounting points. So the 2 are going to be your wheel straps, but the third is a little unique because notice how you can move this side to side, up and down, and even around to accommodate those frames of different shapes and different sizes. So whether you have those women's bikes, children's bikes, alternate frame bikes like step-through bikes, this makes it a lot more convenient to find a good spot on them without having to get an adapter bar. So I'm going to take our bike off and I'm going to start over here at the wheel straps. We have that lever. You're just going to press that lever, pull the strap out, and then leave it over to the side so it doesn't get caught up in the spokes. Here's the second one. Press the lever, bring the strap up and out, and just leave that over here to the side. Now the thing with 4-bike platform racks is it's kind of tricky to reach around the entire rack because it's large and bulky in order to get the furthest bike. In fact, I think probably one of the only bike racks I've seen that helps solve that issue is the Kuat Transfer V2 that has a 4-bike platform rack if you're interested in that. But anyways, once you figured out a good way to support your bike, I like to use my elbow here. You're then gonna hold on to that frame as you press that lever. You can even have a friend help you out. Take that strap out, and then you can grab the bike. Notice how short our mast is compared to some other masts on bike racks. That's because they want to make it easier for you to lift your bike over it before you go on a bike ride. With the bike out of the way, we get to take a closer look at the rack itself and talk about its different specs. The first is looking over at the cradles. Notice the size of the cradles and the size of our strap. So the maximum tire width you can carry with this is up to 3 inches. You can get different wheelbases though with the way that this swings back and forth. In fact, I've started calling these cradles the wings of the bike rack just because of how they're shaped. Your straps are going to have this cushion on it that's going to help protect your wheels as well as your frame. Here on our frame mount, we have that same material on the inside, giving it that extra grip as it supports your bike. Now, when can I lower my tailgate? Well, with the bike on, obviously you aren't able to access your tailgate or your truck bed because this bike rack does not tilt away. With the mast on, you can see here how we still have that as an obstacle. So what we're going to do is we're going to lower this mast. We have a knob right over here. We're going to turn that knob just enough to loosen it, and then we're going to remove this stand, swing it out to the side, tighten that knob right back down. But now we can swing this mast down and then secure it with one of the straps. So you have different options here. You can use your frame mount, you can use your wheel strap. I use my wheel strap, but just make sure to be careful about it so you don't overly stress that strap. With that mast in a down position, let's take a look at our tailgate clearance. As we bring this down, we get, I'd like to say, pretty much all the way. If I move that frame mount, I'd be perfectly fine since all we're moving is that strap right now. But that allows us to lower this tailgate, get into our truck bed, and have access to that. With the ability to carry around a lot of bikes, you also take up a lot of space behind your truck. So we're going to take some measurements to see exactly how much. I'm going to measure from our bumper here to the end of the rack, which is by these nice white plastic reflectors so that people can see you on the road. That sits at 40.5 inches. So That's definitely a length to keep in mind because you're already driving a bigger truck. So if you have a small garage, you know space is at a premium. If you have a large bike rack behind you too, something to remember when you're backing into that garage or when you're trying to park into really tight spots. Now let's talk about ground clearance. And this is something that you might actually not think about since you have a truck that's so tall. Our ground clearance at the end of the rack is gonna be 30.5 inches. Right here towards the side by the wings, it's 26.25 inches. Compare that measurement over here to the shank, which is at 18.5 inches. So ground clearance usually on other vehicles is an issue when you go up steep inclines like driveways or hills because you want to make sure your bikes don't hit the ground. In our case here, that's not going to be an issue. What you actually have to think about is how high are you ready to lift your bikes up and onto the bike rack. Since this only has a 35-pound weight capacity per bike though, the good news is you're not lifting extra heavy electric bikes that high. So what about those situations when you realize that your garage is a little too small to carry this bike rack behind your truck, or if you just want to have it a bit more portable, a bit more compact? What you can do is you can fold this bike rack up. So to do so, we have a clip over here. You're gonna take that clip out, and then that allows you to rotate this bolt over here. Once you have that all the way out, just let that hang since it has a string holding onto it. And then you're gonna lift this up against your truck and secure it with that bolt just took out. All right, the hard part is gonna be lining it up, but once you have that tightened down, don't forget to secure it with that clip. So now it's in the folded up position. Let's take some measurements to see the difference it made with how it's like living with a bike rack behind you. First measurement is gonna be from the bumper to the rack, and that sits at 5 inches of clearance there, so plenty of clearance, not getting any closer than that to our truck. The length now added to the back of our vehicle though, it's gonna be from the bumper to where this turns, and that's 14.25 inches. Big difference compared to when this bike rack was folded down. You'll definitely want it in this position when you're just planning on driving around town. You're not planning on taking your bike rack off, but you also don't want to take up too much space that you're already taking up with your truck. Now, what is it like living with a bike rack behind you though? Notice how, even though we're carrying 4 bikes, we're not going over our tailgate. So none of our view out of our rear mirror is compromised. Our taillights over here to the side are perfectly visible. What is kind of covered though is our license plate and our backup camera. This has an open design so you can still kind of see that license plate as well as through that backup camera. But if that's going to be a major issue for you, you can still drive around with this in the down position. Now let's talk about how this installs into your hitch. So this has a 2-inch shank which fits into the 2-inch hitch receiver. We get an anti-rattle bolt and a lock. This utilizes a cable lock that goes around your bikes and then you lock it into your bike rack. Now, that anti-rattle bolt uses, or at least I use, a 3/4 inch socket. This just helps me ratchet that down. We have extras that you can buy here at eTrailer if you want to keep one right inside of your cab for when you need to install this bike rack. But with that tightened down, it secures, or it tightens the bike rack itself to your truck. To demonstrate how that anti-rattle bolt works, as I shake our bike rack to try to simulate that real movement and vibration, I'm really just shaking the truck at this point. That's because that connection there is nice and secure, and it makes for a smoother ride for your bikes overall too, because then they're not shaking around any more than they already will be. So my personal thoughts about our combination here is that this actually works really well with our Toyota Tundra. If you want to use your truck bed for other cargo, other items, things for your adventures, but you still want to carry around multiple bikes, this is a good way to do it. It is a lot more stable than a hanging rack that can carry around the same number of bikes. The downside usually to the destination rack is that it's really large and bulky compared to a hanging rack, but here on our truck, it seems small compared to our large truck. So it all works out in the end. Now we also have more options here at eTrailer. One would be the Kuat transfer, which I talked about earlier. That makes it easier to mount and dismount your bikes onto the bike rack, but it's also at a more premium price. We also have hanging racks here. The Curt Premium would be a great option for you if you want something affordable and can carry up to 5 bikes. So definitely check out those product pages here at our website to see what's the best fit for you. Hopefully this video helped you out with that decision-making process though, to see what you like for your bikes. And that was a look right here at our Hollywood Racks destination 4-bike platform rack on our 2022 Toyota Tundra.